Okay, let's take a look at some Nikon Speedlights. What to get, what's the best, what's the worst, what's your favorite, based upon logical, intelligent consideration. I have no idea how I ended up with like 24 Speedlights over these many years, but that's how many I've got, or more than that. I've never even had one fail on me. Of course, everything fails. The main thing that fails is the capacitor inside, and the same thing with any speedlight. Now, it is the case that Canon shooters, phony shooters, and Fuji shooters, they use, the smart ones do anyway, Nikon Speedlights. And the reason for that, even if they hate Nikon for any sort of illogical, irrational reason, they know for a fact, which is the case, that Nikon Speedlights are the most durable, the most longest lived, the most reliable. They're just flat out the cat's ass. They are the best made, and I've got Nikon Speedlights that, date all the way back to photography school when I was using them. Some SP24s, and that is old, man. I mean, you're talking, they've still been rocking after 2.5 decades. I mean, even Sigma lenses don't last more than about 10 years, and these Speedlights, are still rocking after 2.5 decades. What to get and what price? Starting in no particular place, we have a plethora of Speedlights here. SP28, SP22, SP910, SP900, SP800, SP26, SP23, and a slew of flash cables. Starting off with flash cables before we get into the Speedlights, here is something if you're going to be shooting in auto mode, or you're using one of these old Speedlights like the 26, the 28, or the 22, or the 23, this is all you need for getting off-camera flash. It's a $15. It's made in Japan. These are incredibly well made. It's an obsolete flash cable. It's not obsolete in the sense that they stopped making it, but it's incredibly durable, very well made. I've got a slew of these things. Everybody should have an SC17 flash cable. $15. Now for full TTL off-camera use, SC29 flash cable, it will let you do very low light autofocus for autofocus assist on using the SC29 like SB910, 800, or 900, and do full flash TTL photography. Not that I really care that much about it. I use auto mode for lots of stuff. Not that TTL flash photography isn't important, especially for photojournalism and sports, but generally speaking, auto is perfectly fine for 95% of things. My favorite Speedlight, because they're basically cheap, and although that's kind of changed since I mentioned them all the time, is the SP28. This is the SP28 to DX, the same thing. SP28 is the same thing. All of these, by the way, except for the SP23, have a power port on the front of them, so I can plug in like a quantum pack, and I could use this for wedding photography or sports or action, so I don't have recycle time. You can have all the batteries in the world, but it ain't no good if you're sitting there waiting for it to recycle. There is an issue, obviously, if you're sitting there banging this out like a machine gun, that it's going to overheat, so you should always have a spare Speedlight, at the very least one spare Speedlight. But this eliminates the recycle time. You'll still need batteries to power the computer on all these Speedlights using external power, but this drops your recycle time from, to boom, 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 just much faster than that. Just turn your Speedlight into a machine gun, and very necessary for photojournalistic work, wedding receptions, any place where you're going to miss the shot because you're sitting there waiting for your flash to recycle. I don't care if you got a pocket full of batteries or not, you got to have external power. SP28 typically is around $40 to $60. The price fluctuates. It's like every time I mention a Speedlight, the price goes up on eBay, which is really rather ridiculous. Incredibly useful. Can use it in auto mode or manual mode. Absolutely a brilliant flash. $40, the best for the money, fits in your pocket. I love the piss out of it. I got 5 or 6 of them. This is the best for the money. Now, if you don't want to spend much, like I said, use an SC17, a flash cable. You do not need an SC28. If you're going to have a Speedlight that you can only use in auto mode or manual mode with your camera, then there's no use in buying an $80 Speedlight or TTL flash photography with autofocus assist. All you'll need was an SC17 cable. So $40 here and $15 here, because you got to get your damn flash off your camera. I know everybody sees a Speedlight on top of a photojournalist camera, but that's because they're doing photojournalistic work. It's not artistic, it's not compositionally beautiful, it's just meant to capture the shot of, someone's underwear peeking out as they're getting out of a car, a picture of Lindsay Lohan snorting cocaine or something like that. It's purely documentarian work. Got to get your camera, get your flash off your camera. So SC17 cable for 15 bucks with any of these that don't have full TTL capability on your Nikon. If you've got the SB910, 800, or 900, then yes, getting the full capabilities or squeezing all the OJ out of your Speedlight by having a full TTL cable is nice. Of course, this is an $85 cable. But if you're going to have a nice Speedlight like that, then you're going to have to buy one of those cables. Otherwise, you're just going to be using it in the same manner that you're using this. And why the hell did you spend $500 on a Speedlight when you could have got the same thing in auto, mode, or manual with this for 50 bucks? 550 bucks versus 50 bucks. If you buy this, you damn well, if you're going to get the Speedlight off the camera, you're going to have to buy a full TTL cable. Otherwise, you're just cutting yourself short. It's just as simple as that. It's just flat out stupid. SB22. This is the SB22S. Very little difference. You have auto mode and manual on this. Typically, these are like 20 bucks. Incredibly useful. It has an auto mode for sensing a light. It's just instead of through the lens metering, you actually is basically like center weighted metering, where it quenches the flash at a given ISO and a given power level. You have 4 different switches here on auto mode, and of course you got manual over here. But it quenches the light at a given setting of ISO. These are incredibly useful for 20 bucks. Very, very useful. I love using these for background illumination. Set them on a little tripod stand. Use it for a hair light, background illumination. You plant this in a bush, several of these, and attach a wireless trigger. And these are incredible for lighting up a night scene. Very, very useful. SB910, bit of an overkill. Current Speedlight, it's been replaced now with a Speedlight that isn't out yet. 550 bucks. Yes, cat's ass. It's incredibly complicated. It makes people's eyes cross when they mess with this unit, because you can go into the menus and you will just dazzle yourself with the complexity of what this sucker can do. However, 80% of it is frou-frou stuff that you generally don't need. The stroboscopic effect and the different modes that you can do are phenomenal. $550, however. All of these run, by the way, on 4 AA batteries. They all take the exact same amount of thing. SB26. The reason people love this so much, this old hottie, is that it has a slave window for actually, if you have a pop-up flash on your camera, stick a little dinky flash on like this Fuji, for example, it will fire here, so you don't actually have to boom, pop a wireless trigger on it, which of course costs a lot of money. So what people love and lust after this little sucker is that little window there that catches the light from a pop-up flash on your camera, or a commander mode set on your Nikon or your Fuji, doesn't matter what it is. It just slaves the Speedlight to fire at the same time, and that's the reason why people love the SB26. There's no real reason to buy the SB26 other than that window over the SB28, for example. Here's a little simple doohickey, and the reason I can't really recommend that much is because these now command basically as much money as the SB22. This is a dumb little sucker. You're actually going to have a separate cable if you're going to use it wirelessly, which I've got. It's a TTL cable that actually, not a TTL cable, actually a hot shoe connector cable that plugs from here to the side of a trigger. They'll let you drop this for like a background light. These were like $10 all day long. Buy it now with free shipping. But now they're running about the same price as an SB22. So the reason of buying this powerful, long-lived, incredibly efficient little sucker, also runs off 4 AA batteries, is the fact that the SB22, which does a lot more, it does auto mode, it has 5 different additional settings, 4 different modes, an automatic and a manual mode, 4 different additional modes than this one does. You just pop it on, boom, that's what you got, But it's still very useful, but not at the current price that people want for the SB23. SB900 does not actually overheat. It was a sensor issue. It would register that they did it as a protective thing to keep it from overheating, really overheating and burning out the xenon flash tube. People say the SB900 overheats, but it actually doesn't. It is just a sensor, an overtly cautious sensor. There's no difference between buying an SB900 and an SB910. They're both essentially the same Speedlight. If you can find one of these great used, which you really never can, then you should always grab an SB900. There's no real difference between it and the SB910. SB800 is actually more powerful, even though it's more compact than the SB910. It's actually more powerful than the SP910. And this is the one that every professional is out to grab. They all always collect these things. Anytime they see them, they buy them. Typically, they're like $150, $160 used. You can do full TTL flash photography. It's very simple. Before they added a billion pounds of worthless frou-frou and turned this thing into a damn computer, the 900 and the 910 after it, this was a much simpler Speedlight because you don't need all that BS on your Speedlight. You just don't. 80% of it is just frou-frou and BS. But this one's more powerful. It's more compact. And this is the one that every professional always buys. It's just flat out not my opinion. It's the way it is. Incredible unit. Can use it as a wireless slave. Incredible power output. Incredibly reliable. I wished I had a whole pile of them. Just wonderful, wonderful. So SB800 all day long for the many reasons that I've stated. And that covers these major Speedlights. The only thing I didn't include was the really old SB24, and the SB700 is a pooper. Don't get the SB700. Even though it's a Nikon Speedlight, it has never been that reliable of a beast. So there is actually a handful of freaky other weird Speedlights that I'm not mentioning for very good reason. Just keep it to these, excluding the SP23, and you'll be fine. For $20 to $40, the SP22 is a perfect all day long. Like I said, all of these units except for the SP22S will take external power, like a quantum pack, for ultra fast, near instantaneous recycle time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you like this video, drop me a buck or two. Tell me to jump off a cliff or dive into a vat of razor blades. Whatever makes you most happy. I'll catch you later. Okay? Speedlights, speedlights, speedlights.